Hi girls, today we want to do exercise 3, graphing linear equation. So last lesson we looked at parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, today we want to actually draw the lines. So for example, if I wanted to draw that, the first thing you do is find the y-intercept by substituting x equals to 0 in here. Okay, so let's see what I get if I do. So if I replace this with 0, that's just y equals to 2 times 0 plus 5, and that's just equal to 5, okay? So that's just your y-intercept, okay? For the x-intercept, sub y equals to 0, so I'm going to substitute that as 0. So 0 is equal to 2x plus 5, and then from here you have to make x the subject. So let's do this equation. So 2x is equal to, bring that plus 5 to the other side, that's minus 5. So x is equal to minus 5 divided by 2. Or in other words, minus 2.5, okay? You want to get the decimal so you can actually plot on the number number plane. So what you do basically after that is you got y-intercept as 5. That means it has to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has to go through here. That's your y-intercept. And your x-intercept is minus 2.5. That's minus 1, minus 2. So let's say minus 2.5 is there. Let's draw a dot there. And all you need to do now is just link them up. And that's your graph, okay? Let's do the same thing for 2b. Do the same thing. Let's find the y-intercept, which means substitute x equals to 0. So replace that with 0. So that means I get 5 times 0 plus 3y minus 15 equals to 0. So that's just 0, so that's gone. So I'm left with 3y minus 15 equals to 0. Now let's solve for y. Bring that minus 15 to the other side. That's plus 15. Divide the 3 under. So that's 15 over 3. So my y-intercept is 5, okay? Let's do the same thing for x-intercept, okay? This time I'm going to substitute, instead of x equals 0, substitute y equals to 0. So if I substitute this for 0, I'm going to get 5x plus 3 times 0 minus 15, okay? Anything times 0 is just gone, so I need to solve 5x minus 15 equals to 0, okay? That's pretty simple enough. Bring the minus 15 to the other side, that's plus 15. And then divide the 5 under, so that's 15 over 5, which is equal to 3. So that means I just need to plot y equals to 5 and x equals to 3 on the number plane. So I'll just do it here since I've got the number plane there. So x equals to 3, let's say that's here, so that's where you draw the dot. And y-intercept is 5, it has to go through there again. That means the line looks like that. Okay, so that's how you graph linear equations. However though, question like 1D, y equals to 4x, let's do the same thing as what we usually do. If I want to find the y-intercept, sub x equals to 0, and if you do, what do you get here? Y equals to 4 times 0, so that means the y-intercept is just 0. Let's do the same thing for x-intercept. If I substitute y equals to 0, so sub that as 0, I get 0 equals to 4x. That means if I divide the 4 under, that's 0 over 4, which is just 0. So see how here I've only got these two details? That doesn't actually tell me much at all. What that means here is it has to go through y equals to 0, and it also has to go through x equals to 0. So I only have 1 point. It doesn't really show me much at all. So if you get into a situation like that, okay, where both your x and y-intercept is just 0, the technique is sub 2 random points, and I usually like to go with 1 and minus 1. So if I substitute x equals to 1 in here, that means y equals to 4 times 1. So that's my first point. Substitute minus 1 in here. So if I put minus 1 in here instead, I get minus 4. So these are the 2 points that helps you get the 2 points and link them up. So let's plot these two. So 1 and 4. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 4, that's here. Minus 1 and minus 4. So minus 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say minus 4 is there. That's here. That means it has to go through these 3 points. Yeah, because remember we had the zeros. So this is your y equals to 4x line, okay? Question 3c. It says test whether that coordinate lies on that line. So what that means, I've just drawn the graph. Let's plot that point. 3 and minus 1 is here. Can you see graphically that point does lie on this line? Yeah, as you can see the dot is on the line. So this coordinate does lie on the equation, but we have to prove that. So in order to prove that, all you need to do is just substitute these points in here. So, let's see, in my y is minus 1 plus 2 times 3. Let's see what that equals to. We're trying to see if that equals to 5. Minus 1 plus 6 is 5. So because that is equal to right hand side, 3 and minus 1 lies on the line. Okay, so that's how you do it. You have to sub it in to the equation and see if you get the same value like it says there. Let's have a look at a scenario where it doesn't lie on the line. So we're given this now. Let's see if that same point lies on that line. So this time, when you're given the question like this, just focus on this side. Okay. My x is around by 3. So now I have then 2 times 3 minus 5. So that's 6 minus 5, which is equal to 1. But what's my y coordinate from the point? It's minus 1. So as you can see, minus 1 does not equal to 1. So because that's the case, 3 and minus 1 does not lie on the line. Okay? So when you're given an equation where you have y equals to something, just ignore the left-hand side, focus on the right-hand side and see if you get the same value as the y coordinate. Okay? Whereas here we had everything on one side, so that's why I substituted both x and y, but here you do it separately. Alright, final few questions. It says graph these three. So if it just says graph x equals to 6, where is 6 on the x-axis? Because x equals to 6, you look for 6 on the x-axis. That's right there. All we need to do is just draw a line like this. Okay, that's it. Just a vertical line. If it says y equals to minus 2, where is minus 2 on the y-axis? Minus 2 is there. So this time, if it's there, you draw a horizontal line. So that's y equals to minus 2. Okay? X equals to minus half. Let's look for minus half on the x-axis. Minus half is there because minus 1 is there. Minus half is there. So because it goes to that, just draw a vertical line. So that's how you draw x equals something or y equals to something. Let's have a look at some descriptive questions though. 7a. Find the equation of a line. It doesn't say to graph, it says find the equation of a line that is horizontal, okay, and passes through the y-axis at 2. So, girls, if it's horizontal, like I've shown you here, that means it's an equation that starts with y. See how I had a horizontal line here? That's for this one. So if it's horizontal, you start with y equals. And we've got to try and find what that value is by looking at the next description of the question, 7a, and passes through the y-axis at 2. So that means so this is the line. Okay? So because it passes through 2, the answer is y equals to 2. Simple as that. Similarly, if it says vertical, 7b says vertical with an x-intercept of 4. If it's vertical, starts with x equals something, and the value is 4, because that's what it says, x-intercepts of 4. So that means the equation of x equals to 4 is that. How about 7g? Drawn through the points minus 1 and 6, 2 and 6. That one's a bit hard to tell unless we graph it out. Let's plot these points. Minus 1 and 6. Minus 1 and 6 is here. 2 and 6, that's here. So if it's a line, it says a line drawn through those points. What is it? It's a horizontal line. So we've established if it's horizontal, it has to start with y equals. And what value does it go through? 6. So that's your answer. All right. Lastly, 10a. What is another name for the line y equals to 0? Y equals to 0. What kind of graph is that? It means it has to go through 0. But if it's y equals, is it horizontal or vertical? Horizontal, because it says y equals. So if it's horizontal, that goes through y equals 0. What is another name for that? I've just drawn over the x-axis, so the answer is x-axis. Okay? Alright girls, that should be enough to get you through the whole exercise. Alright, give it a go. Do all of exercise 303 and let me know how you go. Okay, thanks.